are just hours away from day 3 of the Republican National Convention in Wisconsin. Tonight's focus is on foreign policy and making America strong once again. We're also expected to hear from former President Donald Trump's vice presidential pick, J.D. Vance, when he accepts the nomination for vice president. Sabrina Franza joins us now live from Milwaukee this morning. She's been covering this all week long, and I'm going to get to, I teased it earlier when we talked about the dog on stage, but we want to start with this. The Biden-Harris campaign just released a new video this morning bashing Trump's vice presidential pick. How do you think that this will affect anything that goes on this evening?
Well, as you mentioned, we are expected to hear from the vice presidential pick. That's J.D. Vance tonight. For the first time, he'll be introducing himself to many Americans who are not familiar with him. So a lot of what his speech might be is that introduction, him explaining to others who he is, where he came from. We see some of his biography in his book, Hillbilly Elegy, that came out, and some people referenced as an idea of how the former president was able to relate to people in the 2016 election, this idea that he came up from poverty, growing up in Ohio and in Kentucky, and now is where he is now, the nominee for vice president of the United States. So he could be on the defensive for what the Biden-Harris campaign has put out this morning. But I think more importantly, he needs to get the word out to the American people of who he is. All
right, we know that there's a lot going to take place coming up, but I have to talk about Jim Justice and his dog on stage. What's the story behind that?
Well, I think everybody loves dogs, you know, and we saw that video and we saw it in action. He had his dog up on stage. The dog jumped right onto the chair and sat right down next to where he was making his speech. And I think the whole idea there was that dogs are one way of bringing people together and making people smile, was a quote that came out of that part of the evening. So if a dog can do that, I guess the message was the Republican Party should as well.
All right, so now that we took care of that, the doggone part of this, let's talk about real quick what we can expect tonight. We know the vice president is expected to speak. What else can we expect tonight?
Well, tonight, as we mentioned, the theme, Make America Strong once again. That refers a lot to foreign policy. We expect to hear more from the Republican Party on their platform, speaking to the idea that we should, they believe, spend more money on our military, and it'll likely come up the idea of immigration, securing the border, and then possibly domestic energy production here as well.
All right, Sabrina, thank you very much for your time this morning. Continued success when it comes to covering this convention. Thank you.